It was in the spring of my freshman year that I heard this announcement over the school loudspeaker. I was in the science lab with my class and Mr. Gurney, our science teacher. There were no closets in this room to hide, so we were instructed to go to the back of the classroom and sit on the floor. 2 kids shut the windows and dropped the blinds as we were taught, and Mr. Gurney shut and locked the door. The doors in our school were metal and designed to withstand an onslaught from an AK-47. There was a small glass window to visually verify whoever knocked on the door once bolted. Barricaded in the classroom, we were considered safe. For 5 minutes, we sat silently in the back of the room. Then we heard him. The intruder was in our hall. His voice was thunderous and manic. "If I find you, I'll kill you," he boomed. Then the concussion of his boots slamming against a door. "Open this door." Then he would hurl his body against it. We followed his calamitous progression from door to door until he reached our door. On the first jarring kick, 2 of the girls in the class cried in fear. One boy pissed himself and was shaking so hard he passed out. Gurney looked at us with his finger to his lips and whispered, "Not a sound. Stay quiet." Then the small window shattered from a blow of the hall fire extinguisher. Then it clattered down the empty corridor. A hairy arm extended down towards the bolt, his hand just inches from the handle. Gurney picks up a chair by its legs and swung it like a bat at the arm. Everyone heard the crack as it made contact and broke the attacker's arm. A streak of profanity raged through the window, followed by the threat, "I'm going to kill you." All of us kids were huddled, holding each other, panicked. Kids with cell phones were calling their parents, crying and begging them to call the police. A minute later, a concussion grenade exploded in the hall that nearly knocked the breath out of us in the classroom. Then the voices of a SWAT team yell, "Police!" In 60 seconds, it was over. They had tackled the creep and had handcuffs on him. We remained in lockdown for another 30 minutes as the police secured the building to make sure there weren't any more intruders. The all clear was signaled and we were instructed to remain in our rooms to be escorted out to our parents as they arrived. The remainder of the school day had been canceled. In the aftermath, we learned the man who attacked our school was a prisoner being transported to a mental health care facility of the criminally insane, and the transport had had an accident with a cement truck a block away from our school. The driver and security officer were injured, and the inmate was able to unhandcuff himself and crawl out of the broken window. He had made a run for our school just by happenstance. My parents still were not happy with the school security that allowed him to enter the school. It was found that a back door had been propped open for a class that was outside for a weather project and the study of meteorology. My parents considered removing me from the school, but in the end, the school revised safety procedures and I returned to my class. In 2016, the notorious clown encounters were widely reported in the newspapers around the country. Our school had one such encounter with terrifying consequences. Here is my recounting of that day. My name is Mary, and I was 14 at the time. All October, scary clown sightings were reported in the news, which really blew up on Facebook and Instagram. My friends and I were so terrified of being attacked by a clown, we walked home from school in groups and never alone. My dad said they were just stories and Halloween hype meant to frighten us, but no actual clowns had been apprehended. They were just stories and probably all made up by someone thinking it was funny in a sick way. I was still nervous, and so were my friends. We talked nonstop about what we would do if we were molested by a clown. It was a serious conversation with us. It wasn't if a clown would attack us. There were reports every day around the country. It was when a clown would attack us. If you were in high school, you know what I'm talking about. Well, that day came way too soon. It was in November, and I was in a social studies class. We were discussing how the news affects our thinking and the power of social media on our impressions of what is truth and what is fantasy. Fake news for ratings and to create false fears that can control our lives. Of course, the discussion led to the clown sightings. Are they real or fake news stories created to frighten us and sell newspapers? We were in the middle of this discussion when the principal came over the loudspeaker.
Code red, immediate lockdown, intruder on premise.
I could hear doors slamming, children screaming, and teachers yelling, "Inside, now!" But it was too late for us. 2 clowns stormed into our room, laughing in demonic clown laughter as we ran to the back of the room. They jumped on the teacher's desk and looked like they were picking children to eat one at a time. In a maniacal voice, "Who wants to be first? Give me a show of hands." I was shrieking at the top of my lungs so loud I could not hear the rest of the class, who were also at the top of their lungs screaming, crying. This acted as a diversion and disoriented the clowns, who looked at each other and laughed as if enjoying the moment. But it only took that split second of inattentiveness for our teacher to spring, pushing both clowns off the desk in a football tackle. As they hit the ground, the physical education teacher and 2 other male teachers sprang from the open door and pounced on the clowns, pinning them to the floor. One of the teachers shouted to us, "Get out!" and we all zipped through the door. The police arrived a minute later and had the clowns in handcuffs. In the aftermath, the 2 boys turned out to be past students at the school. They said they had no intentions of hurting anyone. They were just playing up the clown sightings that were in the news. They thought it would be funny. Both boys were still under 18 years of age, and no weapons were found on them. Both were given time in juvenile detention and had to fulfill community service. As for me, I've developed an acute fear of clowns that terrifies me today when I see a clown. When I was in high school, my school was locked down, and I was trapped with the suspect. After lunch, my class had gym class. It's a terrible time for sports education immediately after eating. We had been running basketball drills, and I became nauseous and needed to throw up, so I asked the coach to be excused to go to the locker room. He said we only had another 15 minutes, so go take care of myself and get dressed. The rest of the class will be along shortly. I went into the toilet stall and barfed and was standing there to see if more would come when I heard the school loudspeaker.
This is a lockdown. This is not a drill. Please follow procedures immediately.
The coach ushered the gym class into his office, which had no windows and a metal door, and secured it. By the time I got there was no way in. I wasn't panicked or anything, but I knew I had to hide, and hide fast. In the gym, there was a double-wide door that led to the basement, where there was a meeting room, dance studio, and a large storage room for all the theater costumes and stuff. That door is mostly locked, but this afternoon it had been in use, and when the kids went into lockdown in the classroom, it was left open. I ducked down the stairs and hid in the storage room since it was the darkest and had the most stuff to hide behind. I found a large black plastic storage container and a rack of costumes to bury myself from view. I was alone for only a minute when a man entered the storage room. He flicked on the light, and I got a good look at him. He was a nice-looking guy wearing the clean work shirt of an electrician or something like that, carrying a black bag. I thought he was one of the parents caught like me with the lockdown and nowhere to hide. I said, "Hey, turn off the light and hide behind here. There's an intruder in the building." He turned the light off and came behind the coat rack. We sat in silence until my phone buzzed. It was my friend in gym class asking where I was. I said, "I'm hiding in the storage room in the basement." What did he know? He responded that the coach was informed that the police were searching for a man wearing a Larry's Electric work shirt in the building. He had robbed the bank down the street and was reported to have run into the school. I gasped, and the man looked at me in the half-darkness lit by my cell phone. He knew I knew he was the perpetrator. He asked, "Is there another way out of here, kid?" I nodded. "Back stairs up to the alley." He opened the door and disappeared. I messaged my friend. He was with me in the storage room, but he left using the back stairway. Seconds later, a shout from the police. "Is anyone here?" I said, "I am. The man left up the back stairs." The police cleared the building, and an all clear was sounded. The man in the electrician's shirt was still on the run.
Subscribe